I'm Scott.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andy, and welcome to these in-between days between Christmas and New Year, which is the strange bit when nobody's working and maybe nobody is listening either. So we're just going to have a chat.
So.
How's it been for you, Scott? You had a nice break?
I love the time to just decompress, and that part is always good. So
yeah, absolutely. And the family doing well?
You betcha. Yep. Just a little bit of time together and away from school and work and things like that. So how about you?
Yeah, no, fantastic. A little bit of time actually over in Sweden with the family this time.
Isn't that where Santa Claus is from?
Well, I think he's from Lapland, which is that shared area across the whole of the Scandinavian countries. So,
I think if you ask
an undefined, mysterious country. Yeah.
Any snow?
There's a little bit. Where I am, but plenty up north. Yeah, for sure.
The dusting. Well, I think we skipped over the intro. Welcome to the Tea and Timbits podcast, everybody.
That's right. Welcome
Global
to the
perspectives on business development to help you enjoy the holidays.
Oh dear, we're really enjoying this in between time, aren't we, Scott? We're clearly
switched a little more casual.
That's right. Well, funnily enough, this is this episode is going to be about housekeeping, decluttering, and reframing the mind a little bit for the new year. So if anyone is going to have an example of how not to do things, I think we're doing a great job so far. But let's try and move it forward in a positive way.
I think so.
Before we get into that topic, do you have any stories from the last few weeks that you'd like to share with us, Scott?
I can certainly talk about some things that have been going on just before the holidays. I think that there was, you got two things going on. One, you got people racing to the finish line. And then you got people who are like, really? What? You need something? Can't I just go on holiday? And so the one moment that I thought I would reflect on is the one that was racing to the finish line. And it was very much a scenario where we'd been brought in to contribute, some of our services, and we have an approach for doing that, and we want to make sure that it's well grounded and it's contextualized, and we're doing it in the context of the goals and objectives and all that good, fun, healthy stuff. And there was a little bit of frustration on the other side because you could clearly tell they just wanted the answer. I don't want you to teach me how to fish. I just want the fish. Mm-hmm. And, of course, if I'm going to extend this analogy further than it should, it's like, well, I can put a fish on your line, but it's going to be the wrong one. You're not going to like it. And we're going to be arguing about whether or not you actually caught a fish. And I'm going to say you did, and you're going to say you didn't, but it was still so one of those situations. So, it just reemphasizes the importance of making sure that you have the and I guess what the falling down was, we kind of moved through it. We kind of powered through it, and we kind of went, fine, yeah, we can give you the answer. And then it did get rocky. And so just stay true to what you know and what it takes to deliver quality the right way and avoid the temptation of taking those shortcuts sometimes.
Very interesting and a very valid point. Something that I'd actually like to dive in a little deeper with you because I think that's something that we can.
Well, I think we've talked about it several times already, like just process and that kind of thing. But
yeah, that's right. But I think it comes back very much to making sure that you have the confidence to manage the expectations with the customer as well, and push back a little bit sometimes when it gets tough.
And I also think you can kind of point the finger at the season, and even our team may have been guilty of just wanting to get to the finish line, and those are fragile moments when you give in to those impulses and whatnot. You gotta remember to, maintain sort of the right stance. And
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Anyway.
I mean, that's exactly what happens. And this time of year is certainly one of the big challenges for that, and that kind of leads us a little bit onto the topic of the importance of making the most of these days in between Christmas and New Year. I mean, some people are obviously on holiday now, but for those of us who are not, I think it is important to get clarity on starting the new year with almost with a clean slate, but certainly with a clean and working environment.
Right, but it's cliche, but I think I'm the kind of person who's like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Everybody else does that. New Year's resolution. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
that person who makes them and falls off of them with it. But at the same time, wait a minute, hold on. Yes, take advantage of the moment, embrace it, make a change, take a stance, clear the cobwebs. Even if everybody else is doing it, it's good practice and it's good for you
absolutely.
to do it in a way that supports what you need to get done.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Are
I think
you a tidy person in general, Andy, or do you live with clutter and operate in the chaos?
I'm a little bit of both. I think I get to. I think I allow chaos to form around me to the
What would
point
your
that.
family say if I asked them that question?
Yeah, I think that's different topic and a
Oh,
different
it's a different
discussion
podcast. I'm sorry.
that we'll leave off the podcast. But no, I think that is very much the case, and I think that's the case for a lot of people as well. Is that you get very comfortable in your environment and with the things that you're doing. You'll allow emails to come in. You go, oh, I'll deal with that later,
Mhm.
and so it's an unread email after an unread email. Or I'll deal with that one later. I'll put a little flag on it, or I'll put a remind me thing on it, and then suddenly you've got 50 emails that are unread, and you've got 20 emails with a flag, and you've got 10 with a reminder
Yeah.
that have popped up, and you're like, oh, now I need to deal with those, but they're not fitting in with my schedule. They're not fitting in with the things that I'm supposed to be working with, and so then you clear all that out, and you take those steps to clear it out, but you then get to the point of going, oh, that's good, and then you go back through it again, and sometimes I can be guilty of that because I'm often dealing with multiple inboxes and so on with the different
Right.
clients
Different.
and different things as well. So I'll often jump between those two, but it does, I think if I lived completely in chaos, it would be very difficult for me to manage the multiple companies and things that I work with.
So,
But yeah, a little bit of a balance, I'd say, for me, and I'm certainly not perfect.
I learned this from a manager that I had early in my career, and tell me what you think. But I have so many unread emails in my inbox that I don't even want to tell you what the number is.
Okay.
I, at the beginning of the new year, right click that inbox and say mark all as read.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. I mean, I am, I have a thing that on a Monday morning I have a similar process actually. That if I
On
haven't
a
dealt
Monday,
with
you do this weekly.
I do it on a weekly. I'll do it on a weekly basis, but I'm also mindful of the fact that if I have anything that's unread in there over the, I will go through the key things and I'll filter by unread emails and I'll go through them. But unless they have been of a high priority that I have dealt with them in one way or another, because I try to deal with them, and I have a process of when I deal with my emails,
Okay.
and so unless I've dealt with them and if they are sitting there as unread, then the chances are that they're not important, and it is
Well,
okay
that's the
to
thing. I
do
mean, I
that.
have so many unread because they're not important. If they
Yeah,
were important, they get read, they
yeah,
get addressed, and
yeah.
the rest of them just kind of fall below the fold, and it's not how I manage my to-dos and
No,
follow-ups and whatnot, is
no,
not by being a slave to my unread
yeah.
email
No, no,
account.
exactly. But then my question is, what is the value of keeping those emails in your inbox at all? Why not just delete them?
Oh, that's an extra effort. Like, I don't like, then, like, if
But I
there's
mean,
something that I need to
when they come in,
action,
if you see this is not important, just delete.
because again, I scan for the one that is
Okay.
important and I jump to it. I
I
don't
see.
process it. It
Got you.
just boom, boom, down it goes. So,
Got you.
so what are some of the holiday housekeeping decluttering things that you do or that you might coach on?
Yeah, no, it's a very good question, and an email box management is a key one because I think everybody is in one way or another a slave to their inbox, and it is important that that you do have the relevant folders, that you do have a process around that, and that you take, especially this time now when it's not filling up too much, except with lots of sales and things like that about what's going on in the holidays, that you can take the time to go through those or clear them out, or just go right. I'm going to go into the new year. I'm going to go fresh and start with
You're
zero
crazy.
red
I
emails.
that the thought of doing that, of going through my email and organizing it,
Uh.
sounds awful. I will organize. I will take the time during the holidays here to do some planning. Even if
Yeah.
it's just sort of mental and not terribly formal, but like
Mhm.
it's back to the New Year's resolutions kind of comment. It's
Yep,
like
yep,
there
yep.
is some forecasting and future planning and structuring and visioning that I think is a healthy activity for this time of year that lots of people do and whatnot. And I will do those kinds of things right now. It is some businesses are crazy busy right now. Some are in a
Mm.
lull, especially in the B2B space. I mean, we do
Yes,
get a
yeah.
break right now, and then coming back into the new year, we've got some projects that are going to keep the team busy. Particularly from a business development perspective, it can be very sticky. It can be a slog to get through the beginning of the year. So I will spend this time thinking about how I can make use of that time, because in the past I've gotten very almost like depressed, like down about the fact that there's no momentum and there's no activity and action
Mm.
happening. And so I'll use the time to, preload some campaign ideas and content um, ideas and things like that.
No, that's very smart, actually. That's a good point. I think having a think about how you're going to approach the new year. Not just on a business level, because hopefully that's already been looked at or considered
Right.
prior
Well
to
underway.
this point. If it hasn't, then use this point for that. But essentially having a look at those sort of softer issues, those softer things that, like, what am I going to be writing on LinkedIn for the next few
Mhm.
months? What am I
Yeah,
going to be
exactly.
publishing? Am I going to be doing anything on social? If I am, what is it going to look like? What can I prepare up front? How can I plan that? How can I think about that? And then the next thing that I was going to say that I think is the most important is now to use the time to start putting some of those softer things into your calendar. Some of
Yes.
those key activities that block the time in your calendar. And it could be, and I say softer activities, but some of those activities are quite important, like prospecting. You
Mhm.
should have time for prospecting in your calendar, and it should be there no matter what. And it should be there all the time. But block the time in your calendar now, because as soon as the new year starts, people are
Right.
going to start sending you invitations to meetings. It's going to start filling up. It's going to be internal meetings, external meetings, and suddenly you're not going to be prospecting. You're going to get to February,
And
March
there's
time.
the
You're not going to
pipeline.
have anyone to go and talk to. Um, Also, admin. Put time in the calendar for admin, so that
Mhm.
you can follow up on these things, so you
Right.
can look at your emails. You do have time to
No,
actually
no.
do stuff. Yeah, but it's important. It's important. Um, Meetings with the team, coaching calls, all these sort of things, depending on your role. Get it in the calendar now. Get it in there as recurring meetings. Make sure it's taking place week by week, and then that time is blocked. That time is blocked to do your main bit of your job, and then the other bit of the job, which is the most important part, can then fill in those other gaps.
And actually, that's a good point. Is we talk a lot about business development and how you can engage with your customers and your prospects and all that kind of stuff. But the early new year is a good chance to level set with your team.
Correct.
And it's sure, take up prospecting, take as many of those as you possibly can, get as healthy a pipeline as you possibly can, but it's not going to fill up your calendar. I guarantee it.
No, that's right. A
Use
question for you.
those, put some team calls, some team check-ins, some team lunches, one-on-ones, heavy up on those, take advantage of the time that because everybody's in the same headspace.
Mm.
You want business prosperity and growth and all that kind of stuff, but and it will come. You're going to do all the right things because we're all smart here, right? That's why we're listening to this. But don't forget, it's a great opportunity to level set with your team, ask them what kind of support and guidance and experiences they've had and they need and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and also with your colleagues as well. I mean,
Yeah,
depending
that's
on
what I
your
mean.
role,
Yeah.
it's really important. But I have a question for you, and which
All right.
I half interrupted you with. Um, is it common in Canada to do, or in North America at all, to do kickoffs in the new year? A kickoff event about the
No. Like,
no,
we will do a kickoff for a new project or a new budget or a new,
right.
like, something like that, but we don't just schedule generic New Year kickoff calls,
No, and
at
not
least
only
in my
for that,
experience. I mean,
so
so
much
is
more
that
than
what you mean? Like, is this
that.
something
No.
tell me more. This is
Yeah,
something you've
so
seen?
this is what, so when you were talking, I was realizing that maybe this isn't something that is quite as common in North America, as it is in Europe. Certainly not every company, but it is something that I've seen a lot with a lot of companies in a lot of countries across Europe. And that is the New Year kickoff, and they often do the same after the summer as well.
Mm.
Uh, and it's an event where you get all the it's I think they call it an away day in America,
Okay.
where you get the whole team together and you go away. You do
Oh, sure.
you do like some cooking, you do some team building exercises and things like that, and you have a couple of days where you're kicking off the new year. You're kicking off the first half of the
Mm.
year with with thinking about what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, getting everybody remotivated about the year, bringing everyone together, and then really launching it with an event
I
like
like
that.
it.
Yeah,
I like
but
it.
it's not something that's common there.
Not in my orbit. No, not where I not where I live, not where I sort of not in my network. So,
No,
but
no,
maybe
like
maybe
I
I
say,
just
it's a very
never
valuable thing to
see that
introduce.
happen.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I love it. I'm gonna try and do it. I think it's a great idea.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Oh, very good. Well, I think we're getting close to time now. So desired outcome. Circling back to that,
Yeah,
declutter.
just
Take
take
this
the time
time,
to, as cliche
bring
as it
everything up,
is.
whatever works for you, whatever your little challenges in your life
Yeah,
and in your business. Get rid of it now. Move into the new year with a clean, fresh, motivated approach. And Scott, how can people get in touch with us to find out more?
all you need to do is go to tandtimbits.com and you will find Andy and I there, all the episodes. You can get in touch with us, and we'd love to hear any feedback that anybody has about anything that we've said or should say or should stop saying. And I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday, and we'll get after it all together in the new year.
Fantastic. Happy New Year to you, Scott, and
Thank
to
you. Same
everyone
to
else
you,
who's listening.
Andy.
Take care. Bye bye.